I'm going to show you the niftiest way to make a shoulder seam. It's invisible on the right side, and it has the strength of a seam for holding particularly heavier yarns. Here's a little sample top of a shoulder that I knit to demonstrate on. And like most shoulders, it's bound off in steps. This one has 3 steps of 5 stitches each. And then you line it up with your second shoulder that will have the same number of steps. And you're going to be seaming so that they're actually on an angle. Ordinarily, you could take one of your yarn ends, I would take the top one in this case, and use it. I've cut them short to keep them out of my way, and I'm going to use a different color so you can see exactly what's happening. To begin with, we start by taking the needle and inserting it into the rightmost loop of the bottom piece as if to knit. All right, as if to knit. Then we insert it in the rightmost loop of the top piece as if to purl. I'll get these other little ends out of the way. Oh my. That's not very neat for the video, but there we go. Okay, so we did it as if to knit and an as if to purl to get us started. Now we want to look at our columns of stitches. On the top piece, you see we have all these rows of little hearts or V's, and they start right there, right next to where our yarn is. And if we look at the bottom piece and we look right next to where our yarn is, we see that those hearts or V's are upside down. That's perfect. On the bottom, we're going to go into the 2 legs or 2 loops of the upside down V. And on the top, we're going to go into the 2 loops or the 2 legs of the right side up V. There we go. We're going to repeat that all the way across. And you can adjust the tension as you go, or you can adjust it all at the end. But what you want to do is mimic the gauge. So we want these stitches here to be about the same size as these stitches. They usually, to be honest, end up a little bigger because they are going over the seam, the bound off edge here. All right. Now, I'm going to do a few of these in a row so you get the hang of it. Through the top of the upside down V on the bottom, through the bottom of the right side up V on the top. And you see how that makes a stitch, and it does line it right up in the column. I'm going to adjust them a little bit here, make that one a little bit smaller. You could do that all at the end if you wish. And you just keep doing that. You always go into the same spot that you had come out of on that piece. I'm going through the top 2 legs or loops on the bottom, and I'm going through the bottom 2 legs or loops on the top. Now, if we had a straight seam, that would be it, all the way across till the end. However, you're going to notice right now, because of the jog from the bind-offs, I'm going to lift this up a little. When I go in here, I don't have that loop. So what we have to do at the jogs is we have to jump either up or down a row. So I'm going to jump to this row and go in there to make my stitch. Up here, Again, I'm going to have the same problem. So I'm going to go through that leg or loop, but I've got to jump to another row up here to make my stitch. And there, that worked pretty well, didn't it? And when it's in the same yarn, you really won't see it. Okay, I go in the same place I came out of. I'm going in the top there. And here I'm going to go in the same place I came out of and go in, oops, oh dear. I've got an extra stitch in there, which means something. I'm going to ignore it. There is a fair amount of wiggle room in this. And again, particularly when you're using the same color yarn. So look at that. That's pretty good, right? Okay. And now that I've done that, bridging the jog, I can go back, and it's pretty easy to see the two legs or the two loops that I go through each time. And then, of course, I will get to another jog and treat it the same way. And you can finagle like I did, as you just saw me do, if it's not quite right. All right, so let's look at this. There's my column of stitches, and it goes right on through. In the same yarn, that's going to look invisible. On the back, we see that we have a nice, strong, bound-off edge that will keep our sweater from sagging too much. Because you might ask, well, why not leave live stitches and just Kitchener them? You could do that. You could do that, but it won't be as strong as this will be. And particularly when you're using worsted weight and heavier, it's nice to have that strength so that things don't sag. So there you go. There's your invisible shoulder seam. And I hope you use it and enjoy it.